If you want to prepare yourself and make sure that you are in the driver's seat and you are going to survive the next 18 to 36 months of business or life, honestly, you know how the Trump administration has just sped things up so much you can barely keep ahead of it? You're like, wait, I need an update on that. That is partly because of Elon Musk and Grok, partly because Donald Trump is overwhelming the system intentionally. Just move. And partly because he's only got 4 years or, really a year, maybe less than that, to make these changes and have them affect, our country in a meaningful way. That's what life is going to be like here very, very soon. And I've been urging you to understand AI, but now I've been talking to so many people that are saying, "Have you tried Unhinged on Grok?" Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. It might be fun, but don't do that. Did you see the app where you can go on Grok 3 and it'll talk dirty to you? Definitely don't do that, okay? You have to have some ethics with this, and don't get sucked into the sexy things. Don't. So how do you begin? I urge you to try this weekend. You are going to have a blast this weekend. Keep the guardrails, but have a blast this weekend. You don't need to be a tech genius to do this. I can't figure out my remote control. I swear to God. Something happens and my television says, Wi-Fi network is down. I just look at it, turn the TV off, turn it back on. If it still says that, I'm like, well, maybe it will come back, sometime. And then I walk away. My teenagers have left the house, so I have no idea. That's because, try, if you've always used Apple, try to use Microsoft. You've always used Microsoft? Try to use Apple. It will drive you out of your mind because we calcify. That's not this. You've never seen this kind of technology before, and it's totally intuitive. No matter how old you are, this is not hard. What's hard is to keep the car on the right road, okay? So you don't have to be a tech genius. All you have to have is curiosity, discipline, and the ability to learn how to prompt it, how to ask it questions. So this weekend, I want you to start with something like Grok 3, okay? Or any tool like it. But ask it questions that matter to you that you don't think it could answer, okay? If you're a CEO of a company, ask it to analyze your competitors' strategies based on public data or forecast market trends with the latest numbers and how your company can survive that. Do it. Your mind will be blown. I've talked to people in every industry, and I said, hey, go in and find the hardest question you have as a CEO and ask it. And every time my friends come back and they're like, good God, it knows everything. If you're an artist, have it critique your work. Okay, it's amazing what it will say. Have it generate ideas for your next project. And I'm not saying you have to do it, but here's what I mean on this, because a lot of creative people are like, I'm not going to do that. No. Use it this way. You will never, ever have writer's block again. You know how sometimes they just start writing. Okay? Just Grok, give me a starting point. And believe me, it will give you a starting point, and you may look at that and go, I don't want to do any of that. But I know where to start now. There's no reason to have writer's block or I'm not creative. I can't. Okay? In any field. So let's begin at the prompting. And let it prompt. You prompt it, then let it show you something, and then you do you, boo. That's just the way it is. If you're a stay-at-home mom, my wife asked me a couple of nights ago, how is this going to affect me? Okay, a couple of ways. Just if you're in charge of the budget, just have it optimize your budget. Just see what it comes back with. Ask it to plan a month of meals and then give you the shopping list based on what we think Maha would approve. You know how hard that is just to go look at all the ingredients? This is what I want to make. and I've always used, stuff that's, they're saying now is bad for me. You could say it just like that. And I really kind of want to be a part of this Maha thing, but I don't know what. Could you make meatloaf that would be Maha friendly? What ingredients? It will do it. That you'll have the recipe and exactly what to make it with in about 10 seconds. You would say, I need a week worth of meals. We like these kinds of things. I only have this amount of time to prepare every day. I want it to be healthy. I want it to be like Maha. Can you give me, breakfast and dinner or just dinner every day for the next week? It'll generate that. And then you go, I don't like that one. Try something else. Try it with chicken. What are you going to do with chicken? And then you narrow it down and then say, produce the grocery list. And then you can say, which bot could I get and how do I do this? I want just to put that out online and have it delivered on my schedule. And it will. It's crazy. You ever been educating your kids? You're sitting down, they have homework, and you're pissed because you're like, I did this once already. Now I've got homework too. And you're sitting there and you're like, I have no idea. I have no idea what they're even talking about because I forgot all of that crap. Or math used to be a lot different. You can take anything that your kids are struggling with and say, go into the other room. Grok, my kid's learning this. Here's the problem they're working on. Can you explain this to me like you're talking to a 7-year-old? And it will. And then you go in and go, you know what, son? Let Dad explain this to you. And, you're going to look like a genius. And it will do it. Research the best educational tools for your kids. You ever wondered what to say if your kid would come home and say, I think I'm born in the wrong body? Now, I know what jumps to mind. But then the second thing that jumps to mind is, don't say that because every expert says they'll kill themselves. Okay, so then you're like, well, I don't know what to do. Do this weekend. Even if you don't have kids, do this weekend. Say, if my kid comes home and says they're born in the wrong body, can you give me the strongest, unbiased opinions on both sides? And can you give me the argument both ways, unbiased, strongest, no straw man arguments that would show that my kid might kill themselves? Can you produce credible data that shows that is not something they just made up, but it's that they might actually kill themselves? Because here's what the data shows. It will show it all of it. Okay? Run all of the data, get all the data, then say, show me the footnotes, then read it. Ask for it to debate both sides of that. Read that. Ask your strongest questions. Ask it for the best arguments from the smartest and strongest advocates on both sides. It's going to give it to you without bias if you ask without bias. And then just keep asking questions. But here's a really important thing. That shouldn't make up your mind for you. Don't ever use this and say, what do I say? Because it'll give it to you. And it may not be the right thing to do. You have to ask it for deep information and research and footnotes so you know it's not just making it up. The problem with AI is it cannot memorize every data point on the entire all of man's knowledge. It cannot memorize it all. It can search it, and it's really good at remembering the beginning of something and the end of something. And then it will hallucinate at times because it will say, oh, well, here's the beginning, here's the end. This is probably what happened. Okay? So you have to say, show me the work. Show me the footnotes. Show me the sources so you can go back and look it up yourself to make sure. This is why if you don't do these things, and these are the things a lot of your friends and a lot of your coworkers and everybody else, these are the things they're never going to do. They're going to see AI and they're going to be like, I can write my report. Instead of taking all weekend, I can write it in 5 minutes. and I'm off to the golf course and I don't have to work. I'm going to work. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do all my work. I'm going to have AI do it for me. I'm just going to kick back and collect money. Worst thing you can do. It's a tool to help you have the best information possible. Think of this as having a team of 20 people and you're the boss. Okay? Ask it, what's the most efficient way to streamline my workday? What am I missing at work that would change everything for me? How can I improve my skills in insert whatever field or question you want? What's the future look like for my job? If I want my job to continue in 3 to 5 years, and you just showed me my future isn't real bright, what do I do right now that would help improve my chances of my job remaining? I like this one. I know somebody who says you have to learn something new every single day. And that's kind of, that's hard. It's hard. You get home and by the end of the day, you're like, oh, geez, I got to go learn something. Before I go to bed, I got to learn something new. And, I don't do it. I do it, but it's not real intentional. Go on Grok 3 this weekend and say, I want to learn something new every day. I want to learn something and grow in knowledge and wisdom and ethics on this subject. Can you create an unbiased curriculum that gives me the truth with the sources, both sides if it needs to be, and present a 5-minute lesson to me every day? And you'll have a month of them in about 10 seconds. And it will blow your mind. Now, you can just let that sit there, or you can actually apply it, and then you become stronger. Again, this is just the start of these things. We're going to see coming very, very soon systems that will integrate with your life seamlessly. It'll predict all your needs before you even voice them. It'll automate all the tasks that you didn't even realize were draining you. But the power comes from you. Really important, the power comes from you. It takes the drudgery and the grunt work out of hours of research or data crunching or repetitive tasks, and it leaves you then free to create, to think, and to lead. That's you, if you use it right. And it will change everything for the better for a while. You'll have more time, more insight, more control over your path. But the minute you go off that trail, you'll find yourself in trouble. You're going to be a small business that can compete with corporations. You can be a student that will rival a professor. Later, we'll see the downsides, the jobs vanishing, the dependence growing, maybe much, much worse. I've warned you about that stuff for years. It's not a smartphone. It's not social media. We stumbled blindly into that. And you can be an early adopter this time, which I really, really urge you to do, because you will help define the ethics and the boundaries of this. If you don't, it'll all go to, have you seen Unhinged? And it can talk sexy to me, and we're screwed. If you let others, we've seen the experts from the government and science. Oh, yeah, their advice always works out. What mistake has happened by having us just go, well, scientists and the best minds in the world say this. Anyway, it's here, and we're at the crossroads. Use AI to amplify your mind, not replace it. Lead with it. Don't follow. In 18 months, the world is going to see what you will grasp today. Act now, or you're going to be playing catch up, and you will not catch up. When transhumanism and that line comes, you're going to know where you stand. Human, flawed, perfect as you are, or I'm going to join the Borg. I hope we're all going to be strong enough to say, no Borg for me. But we're not there yet. Learn how to master it and begin this weekend.